What's going on, Fit Fam? It's Coach Leo here, coming at you with a stretching video. This video is specifically for any back pain, tightness. So this first exercise that I'm doing, I'm just squatting it out right here. As I'm squatting, I'm reaching forward, loosening up that lower back, getting those muscles warmed up before I do any type of static stretching. So I'm holding it at the bottom as well, reaching, holding it at the bottom, pausing it, bouncing just a little bit, staying nice and loose. And in this next stretch, I'm holding onto the wall, kicking with the outside leg. As I'm repping it out, I'm kicking higher and higher every single rep. And I'm even kicking backwards as well, stretching out that hip flexor. So kicking back and up, a couple reps right there, switching sides, kicking with that outside leg right here, higher and higher every single rep, and even kicking back. And just make sure you're exhaling when you kick up right there. Make sure you're breathing the whole time. And then from right here, I'm facing the wall, kicking inside and outside right here, kicking higher and higher with every single rep. Nice and loose every single time you're swinging. You don't want to be tense right here. You just want to let that leg swing freely. Other leg right here, nice and high. So I'm stretching out the inside part of my leg, the groin. And then when I kick in, I'm stretching out the glute right here, lower back, couple reps right here. Higher and higher. And then right here, I'm gonna get in the squat position. So feet shoulder width apart. I'm gonna drive my knees out, staying low. So you wanna bottom out with these squats, that bottom squat position. Driving those knees out with my arms, swaying side to side, putting one weight on one leg more than the other, reaching, stretching out that lower back. That reach is really helping with stretching out that lower back, alleviating any type of tightness. So staying nice and low, even dropping my head will help stretch out that mid back and upper back as well, which is really important, especially if you have a desk job, if you're sitting down a lot. Right here, I'm doing the good old stretching the hamstrings, keeping my legs apart as far as I can, keeping my toes pointing up. I always think about that, toes pointing up, reaching far forward, and just letting gravity take over. I'm not stretching or forcing my stretches out too much. I'm just letting gravity take over, reaching to my right side right here. And then I like to grab onto my right foot and even throw my top arm over so I could stretch out my lats. So the more muscles I could stretch out, the better. So I'm stretching out both arms, and then other side right here. I like to grab my midfoot with the hand that's closest to the foot, letting gravity take over, dropping those shoulders, dropping my head. Make sure I'm breathing the whole time. And I'm gonna throw my arm over so I can stretch out my lat. I'm stretching out that right side, that midsection as well, where the ribs are at. And then from right here, I'm just letting my shoulders drop a little bit more. Next stretch, I'm bending my knees, twisting around right here, loosening up that lower back. I always think about trying to crack it. And then if you want more of a stretch, kick one leg over, and then you'll also stretch out your glutes. So kick that leg over, and then use that arm to help yourself twist around. And I'm even using that arm to help pull that leg so I can stretch out my glutes. Switching sides right here, bringing that leg over. And just make sure you're keeping that foot close to you. Closer the better, so you could get that angle, so you could stretch out that glutes as much as you can. And I'm just dropping my head. I like to stay nice and relaxed the whole time. And then from right here, butterfly stretch. Force those heels in towards your body. Grab your toes, nice and relaxed. And then even dropping my head right here. And then if you want more of a stretch, you could also, instead of grabbing your toes, you could grab your ankles and then use your arms to help force those knees down towards the floor. So this stretch, you're stretching out your groin, lower back, upper back. And just force those knees down as far as you can, more and more. So notice I'm just dropping down a little bit more with my upper body, letting gravity take over. Next stretch, I'm keeping one leg straight, bringing one leg back. My toes are facing away from me, stretching out my hip flexor. So main stretch, I'm stretching out the leg that's bent, and I'm stretching out that hip flexor. I like to just drop my elbow with that opposite side. And then that leg that's straight, just keep it straight the whole time. Further back, the better. Sometimes I like to lay all the way back, but I'm feeling a little tight right here. So as long as you're really just forcing your hips up and just getting that stretch and just relaxing with those muscles. Switching legs right here. Notice my toe is facing backwards, opening up that hip, laying backwards. And then if you want more of a stretch, raise that arm up. So my right leg's back, so I'm raising my right arm up right here. And just lay back as far as you can. You don't want to force a stretch. Always just relax, staying nice and loose, not having any tension in those muscles. And just hold it. Longer the better. I like to hold my stretches for 30 seconds or so. And then from right here, I'm leaning forward. Same position with my legs, but I'm leaning forward, letting my head drop, stretching out my left hamstring, getting more of a stretch by reaching, grabbing the middle of my foot. There you go. And then notice how I'm dropping my head even more. And if you want more of a stretch, get your hips up off the floor. And it's all about creating angles. Just play around with it. Switching sides right here. Leaning forward. So notice how my hips are up off the floor right here. My hips are down real quick, and then I'll get my hips up off the floor once I'm nice and loose. So every couple seconds, you'll feel your muscles loosen up, and then that's when you could start stretching a little bit more. Your body will naturally loosen up, so just feel it out. Notice how I'm on the inside. I'm stretching out the inside part of my hamstring. Paying attention to loosening up that lower back. Just be really mindful of what you're stretching out. Next stretch right here, pigeon pose. Bending that front knee, bending that back leg behind you, and just leaning forward as far as you can. Moving around a little bit side to side. And then once you're all settled in, you could just drop both elbows onto the ground and just hang out for a couple seconds. Once again, 30 seconds. You don't want to rush your stretches, so just make sure you take your time when you're stretching. Use it to just relieve any stress. And then other side right here. I feel a lot of times tightness comes from stress, so just make sure you just clear your mind and just pay attention to those muscles getting loosened up, releasing any type of stress. So from right there, leaning forward all the way. And I'm even moving my shoulders side to side, stretching out any tightness in my torso area. Leaning forward, moving back and forth just a little bit. Leaning forward a little bit more right there. And then from right here, I'm gonna bring one leg in front of the other leg as far back as I can. loosening up my hips. So I'm working on my hip mobility right here, which is really important to alleviate any tightness in that lower back or just legs, period. And then notice my front leg, I'm on my heel. No pressure on the toes. And then from right here, I'm gonna kick back right here, straightening out that front leg, dropping down, loosening up the hamstrings again, letting gravity take over. Staying as low as you can. Lower the better. And then from right here, I'm gonna post up. So notice that front heel's on the ground. My knee is above my heel. Dropping my hips. More of a stretch by raising up your arms. So my left leg's forward, my right leg's back. So I'm gonna raise up my arms and then stretch out to the left side so I can stretch out my right hip flexor. And then just opening up those hips. Open up those hips as much as you can. Switching legs right here. Right leg in front. Right heel down. And that toe could either be up or down. I like to keep it up in the beginning, and then I like to drop my toe down after a couple seconds. Staying nice and low, dropping those shoulders, and then kicking the leg back right after. Straightening out that leg, stretching out the hamstring, dropping those shoulders. Just holding it for a couple seconds, waiting for my legs to get loose. And then that's when I like to transition. Once I feel my legs getting loose, those hamstrings. So from right here, right knee above my heel, raising my arms up as high as I can, stretching out my lats, my arms, my left hip flexor, and just my hips, period. And if you want more of a stretch in that lower back, you could twist around. So right leg in front, twist to the right, using my left hand to help force myself around a little bit more. And then from right here, a little extra exercise for you to do. It's not a stretch, but this will really help alleviate your lower back. So I do this quite often. I like to do it somewhere that's real sturdy on the ground. And then what I'm doing is I'm pushing my lower half away from my upper half. So I'm just releasing any tension from my lower spine right here. This is an awesome stretch. And then from right here, I'm throwing my right leg over to the left side, keeping those shoulder blades on the ground as much as you can. Try not to raise those shoulder blades off the ground. You want to keep it on the ground so you can get a good twist. And then other side right here. And notice how I'm even moving my left arm a little bit more, or a little bit. That's going to help out any tightness. And then just force that left knee onto the ground right here. Holding it. Relieving any pressure in the spine. And then once again, heels on the ground, pushing my lower half away from my upper half. Keeping that lower back on the ground. And then a couple more stretches. This stretch, bending the left knee, and then throwing that right leg over, grabbing my foot, and then forcing my right knee in towards me. So I'm stretching out my right glute. So stretch out your right glute by grabbing your right knee and your toe as well. Other side, grabbing my left knee, my left toe, bringing it towards your body. Being mindful of what you're stretching, the left glute. So hold it right here. Nice and relaxed. Throwing my leg over, little bonus stretch right here. And I'm gonna turn around, Cobra Stretch. Keep those hips down, stretching out your abs, looking up to the sky, moving around to the right, to the left. If you look to the right, stretching out the left side, looking to the left, stretching out the right side. And then from right here, throwing my hips back, loosening up that lower back a lot more, straightening out those arms. Just looking down at the floor, keeping those shoulders down. And then one more time with the Cobra Stretch. So this right here, I'm looking to the right and left. And then last stretch of the day, throwing the hips up, legs straight, and then I'm just bringing one leg over. So my right leg is over my left. I'm stretching out my left leg right here from my calves, hamstrings to that lower back, switching sides. And if you can, if you don't really feel it, walk your hands in towards your feet. So walk your hands back, arms straight, legs straight, creating a triangle with your whole body. All right, Fit Fam, and that's that. Try it out at home, especially if you have any lower back tightness. Even if you don't, it's important to stretch. So try it out at home, and I hope this helps. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon.